Everyone, Roger and James here from the DisKingdom Podcast. In this episode, we're going to be sharing our initial thoughts on the new trailer that was released by Sony for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which is a new animated movie coming out in Christmas 2018, bringing together basically the concept of alternate universes with various different Spider-Man. So this one's going to be focused on Miles Morales. I think Peter Parker is in there as well. They didn't really show off too much of other ones. He's going to be the main focus. The art style, very different. Wasn't quite what expecting.
No.
Reaction seems to be quite... A lot of people are like, ooh. And my first thing of like, DC have been doing some great animated movies for years. And Marvel never... They've been trying stuff with like Planet Hulk and... There's been a few on Netflix. I've never quite got around to them. I've tried to get my wife to watch them, but she goes, no, they're a cartoon, I'm not watching it.
They're not worth watching. As someone who has watched them, they're not worth watching.
Whereas this kind of seems like they've definitely kind of... They're taking a different approach. This was one of the things that Sony wanted when they kind of... The deal with Spider-Man was they got to do this. This was... I think Marvel's still probably been heavily involved in it, but... This was kind of the payoff of Spider-Man being able to get in everywhere else. Personally, I'm looking at this kind of... I'm a bit like, I don't know what this is. It's like, I never really quite liked this whole Spider-Verse thing and Miles Morales and all the rest of it. It's like, just leave, make Miles Morales something completely... that's my one issue with it. It's like, they should have just been a brand new character.
Not Spider-Man.
This is going to be so confusing for people. Anyone not anything in it.
That's my issue with. I have no issue with Miles Morales in general. I think he's actually a pretty well written character. He's an interesting diversion. He was brought into the Ultimate Universe to replace Peter Parker, who was killed in that universe. And cool. I think he's a pretty interesting character, but like you said, this is going to be confusing as heck for people. This is the fourth interpretation of Spider-Man that we've had since 2007. And most people don't have the slightest clue who Miles is. I mean, if you've seen the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon show, the not the one that's airing right now, but the previous one. Yeah, Web Warriors. Well, Web Warriors was one of the names of the seasons, I think, but he was a character in that. He's been in the comics for a while, but keep in mind, the majority of people who are going to the movies have never read the comics. If you ask them who Superman is, they can give you the broad strokes. He's the, look up in the sky, it's a bird, it's plane. Spider-Man, he got bit by a radioactive spider and his uncle died, and that's the end of it. To introduce Miles Morales in this way, without putting him, say, into the regular Avengers universe first, is going to just be like, wait, who is this? This is not Spider-Man. This isn't Peter Parker. We're going to get the whole freaking racism thing going again, too. When Miles was first introduced in the comics, they're like, "What? Why is Spider-Man black? He's always been white?" And like, oh, geez. And that was just in that small comics community, which is only, 150,000 people. If you add all of them up, it's probably up to like 300,000 or something. But the movie-going public is millions. And we are going to deal with this nonsense. That has nothing to do with the trailer. That's just a problem the movie is going to have to deal with in the future.
Yeah, I think they're going to have to do a very good job in the trailers, of trying to portray that there's multiple Spider-Man in it. They're going to need to kind of be like, because this is obviously teaser trailer. They've got nearly a year to kind of get the word out that there's multiple Spider-Men from parallel universes, and that's what they're going to need to kind of sell it on. I mean, I thought the art style was pretty good. I mean, also this week they announced another new animated. I don't know if it's going to be an animated movie or an animated TV series with they're changing Spider-Gwen into
Ghost
Spider, and they're bringing in Miss Marvel and a few other things as well, and Squirrel. And I think it's definitely like they're pushing and with Miss Marvel, and they're pushing like what a lot of people kind of call the minority characters heavily strong in this one. I think the art style looks pretty good. Lots of the actors in that are, I would almost say, too good for just being like a YouTube video. You've got, Agent May, you've got Dove Cameron as well. There's quite a few names chucked into this series where you're like, okay, this seems too good to be things. And seeing this and Spider-Man in the same week, it feels a little bit like, okay, they are really pushing forward the diversity. What was coming through all the comic books a couple of years ago now is going to start hitting our screens.
And I'm 100% all for that. I think what they've done with the Forces of Destiny over in the Star Wars with the little YouTube shorts has been great. Some have been better than others. Some have been not worth watching, even though they're only like a minute and a half long. I would like some longer form stuff out of this. But it's like you said, and like I alluded to with Miles, is there is going to be a storm of idiocy on the internet as people are like, wait, why are you pushing all these women and these women of color? Miss Marvel is a Muslim, and it's like, it's like, I'm so not looking forward to dealing with that nonsense again.
Yeah, I think I never really understood that whole concept when it came out the first time around. So second time around, my tolerance for it is even less. It's like, no, it's like this. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. Miss Marvel's fun character, Miles Morales, I've read, the Ultimate Spider-Man comic books, I've seen him in the comic book, played him in the video games. I understand who he is, I know what it is. It's fine, and he's a cool character, and I'm hoping that I think this thing of Ghost Spider is a way of being able to push her as a strong, rather than Spider-Woman or something like that, and getting away from girl or woman kind of thing. So going down Ghost Spider could be a good way of rebranding her to being a mainstream character.
Although it would have been, Ghost Spider would have made a lot more sense for Miles Morales' title, because one of his abilities is being able to go to camouflage himself, which Ghost, I don't know how that relates to actual Ghost Spiders. I don't know what their real life abilities, the actual spider I'm talking about here, but yeah, it'd be a good idea. And Spider-Gwen has been at least different. She is officially Spider-Woman in her universe, but everyone knows her as Spider-Gwen. So
I also wonder with like Gwenpool as well, like they need to they
differentiate,
maybe start, and if they want to make her go mainstream, because Spider-Woman, it's funny for me. I grew up watching that TV series from the 70s, so Spider-Woman as a kid was something I saw all the time, and she was a mainstream character because she had a TV series. Yeah. So it was always that kind of weird thing. I never, and she could fly and she could shoot electric, and I always had that thing of she was different. So for me, like this whole thing of like a new wave of animation, but this Miles Morales movie, I don't think I'm going to be able to get. I think this will be a movie I'll have to go and see on my own, because I know my dad won't want to go watch it because it's a cartoon, and my wife won't want to watch it. And I think that's where I do feel like this has got an uphill battle.
This has a massive uphill battle. This is not Peter Parker. This is the fourth version of Spider-Man that we've gotten since the Tobey Maguire, Sam Raimi movies. This is an animated movie. This is all sorts of stuff. And then they've got to explain the Spider-Verse, where it's not just Miles. I'm sure we're going to have Spider-Gwen in it. We're going to have Scarlet Spider. We're going to have all of it. It's going to be Spider. Yeah.
Yeah.
At least Spider-Ham will be entertaining. He's funny as heck when they do him properly. But yeah, I like the trailer. I'm not sure what I think about the art style. And it definitely seems like they're not going for a smooth animation style. It's a little bit jerky. It's kind of got a claymation feel to it, which is awkward. But
they're taking a risk, and I do appreciate that.
They're taking a risk, and I hope people will give it a chance, assuming it's good. If it's terrible, then whatever. I don't care what happens to it. But if it's good, if they put their heart into it, if it's got a good story, then I hope people give it a shot.
It's going to be an odd one. I'm still not. I wouldn't. I think after having seen Infinity War trailer, it's a little bit like, okay, this is in a different zone. But It's new. It's exciting. It's done differently. I'm very intrigued with it, and I'm sure the trailers, they've got a year to sell this to the mass public.
Right, they absolutely have a year. It would be great if they could introduce Miles somewhere else. I mean, they alluded to him in Spider-Man: Homecoming. You remember Crispin Glover's character mentioned his nephew. That's Miles. They didn't name him by name, but Crispin Glover's character is the Prowler, and the Prowler's nephew is Miles Morales Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So they could introduce him. Obviously, Avengers Infinity War is probably not the place to do it, but, we'll see what happens.
No.
I mean, that's what it comes down to.
But we'd love to know your thoughts on the new Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse trailer. What did you think of it? Love to know your thoughts on all that. As per usual, you can check us out over at DisKingdom.com. You can also like us and follow us here on subscribe on YouTube. And if you're listening to the audio version, you can subscribe as well on those audio platforms. James, where can they find you?
You can find me at heroiclegacy.com.
And on that, guys, thank you very much for joining us. We'll be back soon. Later.